Daydream Island is one of 7 islands of the Mole Group, nestled in the heart of the Great Barrier Reef. Lovers Cove at Daydream Island, which is a fringing reef and is home to many marine species. Lovers Cove, among with much of the Whitsundays, is currently facing challenges after significant damage from Cyclone Debbie in 2017.
Cyclone Debbie hit the shores of the Whitsundays in 2017, causing extensive damage to our coral. When a coral reef is disturbed and water qualities are affected, it promotes algae growth, usually macroalgae. And if the corals cannot repair themselves quickly, then they will face challenges when competing with algae.
As many people have heard in the media, there's a lot of pressures on the Great Barrier Reef, not just in the Whitsundays or in the Mackay Whitsundays region, but all up and down the reef. So we are experiencing loss of corals and the concern that goes with that in many other parts throughout the reef.
This then could result in a coral reef becoming an algae-dominated reef. The difference between these algae and our beautiful corals is that it only takes 3 to 6 weeks for algae to grow, whereas it can take many years for a coral reef to form. This macroalgae thrives off sunlight, as do our corals. As a result of the algae growing so rapidly, it could become hard for the corals to compete for space, and eventually the algae could shade out the coral.
Our project there is to take corals from our marina and another place close by and either propagate those corals or transplant them directly to increase the recruitment and the recovery rate at Lovers Cove.
The Daydream Island Youth Ambassadors program was led by an amazing group of 8 students who teamed up with Reef Catchments and Daydream Island. The importance of this project is to protect the future of our corals and the entirety of the ecosystems around them.
There are many coral reefs on the Great Barrier Reef that are under stress and have reached their tipping point due to crown of thorn outbreaks, climate change, and other impacts. These other impacts resulting in the reef dying, the algae parrot-eating fish dying, thus leading to the algae taking over those sections of the reef.
Fun fact, coral reefs contain the most diverse ecosystems on the planet.
Coral reefs also protect coastlines from the damaging effects from wave action. They also provide habitats and shelter for many marine organisms.
So our end goal for Lovers Cove is to bring back the fish populations. So to do that, we need to bring back the coral.
Coral gardening though, in terms of actually propagating coral and removing algae is a relatively new project idea, and whilst we do see it in other parts of the reef, up at Magnetic Island is a good example, we aren't seeing it everywhere yet. So what Daydream Island is doing here is really novel, and it's right on the edge of science, and it's really exciting.
The algae had begun growing on some of the surfaces where coral may normally grow, causing reduction in coral biodiversity. By removing the algae at Lovers Cove, we have made space for corals to grow. Daydream Island's Living Reef staff are taking the project even further by planting corals from their nursery into the space we have cleared. We hope to provide the coral reef with the chance to revive itself, and in hopes one day the cove becomes resilient enough to survive natural disasters.
As youth ambassadors, we are very passionate about the survival and the recovery of our reefs. We really want to inspire others about our project.
So as a team, we came together to make reusable bags and recycled t-shirts, as this was a way to start conversation with others at the reef and educate them about how to save our reefs.
Our team has helped to support the recovery of Lovers Cove by staying at Daydream Island Resort over the space of 3 days, where we addressed the issue which Lovers Cove is currently facing. We handed out flyers in hope to raise awareness to the public. We made and gave out reusable bags. We spent 3 sessions snorkeling and removing algae from the cove to make room for potential coral growth.
Although not all impacts on our reefs are under our direct control, for example natural disasters and climate change regarding global emission. In saying that, there are a number of things you can do.
We can first start off by becoming more educated on our coral reefs, knowing that reefs are more complex and face more challenges than what people think. Secondly, we can do small things such as stop littering, stop fishing our coral reefs. When snorkeling or diving around the reef environment, try to avoid striking or touching the coral. Thirdly, keep it green. Wash your car on the lawn, allowing the water to be recycled. And without the help from people like you and I, the reef may not bounce back from natural disasters.
With your help, we can do this!